Hopefully I'm doing this right. My name is Thomai Roi. I've never recorded a solo podcast before, so thanks for tuning in. This is going to be really awkward. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm Thomai Roi. I run a company together with my husband, and I don't like any of that. We're going to start over. I don't know how to fucking start this. I'm nervous. I've never done this before. So, like, everyone that's watching, bear with me. This is the first time I'm recording a solo podcast, and you get to tune in because today, what I'm going to be talking about is this. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 10 years. I run a company with my husband. I've been in more industries than I can count on one hand. And yeah, it took a decade. It took over a decade if you include the time at corporate. And so it's just like, I wanted to talk about this because, well, for one, my husband got this for me and I absolutely love it. And 10 out of 10 would recommend it. It's super comfy. It's also something that Leila Hormozi put out recently. And I've been seeing a lot about it on the internet. People either commenting about this and not really liking the message and all of that stuff. And so I wanted to come on here and share what this really means for me. Because I don't view it as like truly fuck your feelings or fuck your mood, follow the plan. It's got a much deeper meaning to me. And so I wanted to share that with you in case it's helpful when you hear this sort of thing. And just in general, it's something that I've learned. I've had to practice a lot over the last decade in being an entrepreneur and being a leader in my business. And I think it's something that is a critical skill for anyone that wants to start, grow, expand, scale their own business. You're going to have to master this. And let me explain more about what this is. So I also have notes. So you're going to see me like looking down every now and then. And it's what it is. Okay. First podcast. I don't have a script. So taken at face value, fuck your mood, follow the plan. That can sound like extreme emotional suppression, like dressed up as hustle culture. And that's really not at all how I look at it. I actually don't, I hustle, but I don't subscribe to this wild, extreme hustle culture of don't have fun and don't do this and like running a company involves an incredible amount of focus, a incredible amount of dedication, wildly good time management, and really understanding your priorities. And you could still be human. You could still feel. So it's not ignore your feelings. It's just don't let them be the CEO. You're the CEO, not your feelings. And so if we really kind of want to expand on that a little bit more, this is how I find that this saying really helps sustain people long term. So like if you think of your mood as just like a data point, so I do operations, okay? And like operations is my jam and data, and I'm very data driven. I make data driven decisions. I like all of that. So mood is just a data point. It's just information of an awareness of like, I'm feeling like this today. But just because it's there and it exists, that doesn't mean that's the direction for the day. So like, let me give you some examples of like how mood can be a data point. So like, just in terms of where you are emotionally. So like, say we have a dip in sales, suddenly we feel doubtful. A launch flops and we have some shame around that. There's a team issue, like people aren't getting along or, wires are getting crossed, and that's a lot of frustration. And then on the positive side of things, you get a win, you get a new sale, you get a really big client, you get an adrenaline rush. And then when it's quiet, that can cause anxiety. Sometimes it's calm and sometimes it's really unnerving. And the key to all of this is to not let your mood dictate your actions. Because if you do that, your business will then become reactive. It'll become inconsistent. It'll become just exhausting to run. I mean, one bad emotional morning can just throw off an entire week of progress. And that's happened to me. Like I've definitely done that, unfortunately. And it took actually quite a few weeks over the course of a very long time of burning out multiple times, shutting down multiple businesses until I finally got to the point where I had enough leadership skill and emotional control to bring a company to 7 figures. And that's what we did. So I think the take-home message in saying all of that is that the real skill in leadership is emotional awareness and not emotional obedience. So we can be aware and we don't have to obey whatever it is kind of telling us. So to say fuck your mood, doesn't mean you don't feel. It means, for me, they're almost kind of steps. So like when I say fuck your mood, these are the steps I take. Number one, I notice what's going on. I notice the feeling. And it's usually not the feeling that is causing the discomfort. It's my resistance to that feeling. And let me explain that a little bit more. So like say we launched something and it totally flopped. It just didn't go as expected. And I feel a lot of shame around that. The shame can exist and that's quite normal to feel, but it's my resistance to the shame that is then making me reactive. Like, I don't want to feel this. This isn't how it should have gone. I don't need to feel shameful. I shouldn't be doing this. I must have done something wrong. And those feelings of resistance to the feeling that is there is actually what's causing me to behave and act in a way that isn't in alignment with the plan I actually have for my business. So I notice the resistance, I name the emotion, and then I let it exist. I don't try to fix it. I don't. I'm just like, okay, I feel shame. That sucked. I'm not going to try and numb it. I'm going to feel it and then do the next right action anyway, the next aligned action for my business plan. And the really short, abbreviated version of saying that is fuck your mood, follow the plan. So we don't argue with the feeling. We don't dramatize it. You don't build a story around it, especially you don't build a story around it. You're the one driving the car and you can ride shotgun. It can just stay over there. Buckle up, buttercup. We're still heading down the road in this way. Feel free to come along if you want or not, whatever. But it's going to be there no matter what. I think entrepreneurship in general really demands two things, two really big skills, two really big things all at once. And that's really high emotional intelligence and really low emotional reactivity. So you need to be aware, enough before the burnout hits, because this is where it's ultimately going to lead. If you actually fuck your mood, you're going to burn out. It's trust me, I've done it. It's the 3 a.m. existential crisis that mounts into you deleting everything and closing the accounts and informing folks like, hey, this isn't going in the direction that I thought, and letting clients know and letting that shame really dictate not just your actions, but form the narrative around your identity and how you think of yourself. It could throw you into a depression. It can make you feel not capable. And that's obviously not what we want to do. And it's not so much that we need to avoid feeling, again, like I was saying, it's more like we just need to be aware of what's going on and being aware of the emotions that are coming up so that we can sense the burnout coming before it hits. With that said, too, we also have to be grounded enough to keep moving when that motivation disappears, because like the motivation and excitement comes in the beginning. But that's not what sustains you to continue running a business. Actually, as you're continuing to run the business, you do have some high moments, but for the most part, you're not running on a high all the time. And you really need to be able to metaphorically have both feet on the ground all the time in order to keep moving forward. And you need to be regulated enough. Folks use the term nervous system. So you really need to be regulated enough to make the decisions that you need to do to keep moving forward from a place of strategy and not fear. So having a plan and keeping that plan, that grounded strategic plan in mind, it might not really come in handy on the days that you're feeling really good, but it is absolutely going to come in handy. And you're going to want to be able to reach for that when your confidence is gone, your motivation exited the room and is kind of fake at this point. And that self-trust that you have is really, really thin. And that's not weakness. That's just being human. And that happens as people, being people, try to do something really extraordinary. So the plan really matters more than the mood, because the mood is temporary and the plan is intentional. Let's think about when that plan for your business was really created. It was created when you were calm. It was created when you had perspective, when you weren't inside this like emotional storm, whether people are being trolls or you're not getting enough sales for the week that you thought you were, or, again, the thing you launched flopped, or it's really quiet. Like, what's going on? That's not when the plan was created. We created the plan when we were in a naturally grounded state, when we weren't resisting any emotions that were coming up. And honestly, we were feeling pretty good. We were on a high. We had a lot of adrenaline going. And that's great. And the plan is for the hard days. So remember, we have this plan. We implement the plan, especially on those hard days. And when you do that, it will allow you to compound the momentum that you have built in your business up until this point. The successes that you've seen, if you can continue to stay the course, fuck your mood, follow the plan, that momentum will compound. Your identity will continue to solidify. And that's not a false identity of like, I am so attached to this business and this outcome. This is more of like, I do what I say. I'm building the internal confidence, the evidence to say like, I'm a person of my word, of the highest integrity, and I do exactly what I say, regardless of what comes up. That's what following the plan will do for you. It will allow for self-trust, and you could rebuild that self-trust in moments of difficulty when it was actually torn down a little bit. And then your results will just become inevitable. Discipline isn't punishment. It's self-respect in action. So discipline is not punishment. You are self-respecting yourself in real time. And I don't like grind culture. I don't like that term, rise and grind. I mean, technically that's what we do. We wake up and we get to work and we get excited and all this stuff. But like, leadership is not grind culture. Grinding does not mean you're a leader. Leading a business is nervous system leadership, because burnout will come from ignoring your limits, never resting, forcing stuff to happen without actually giving yourself a chance to recover, tying your worth to productivity. Like, if I'm not busy and I'm not grinding, I'm just not delivering value. And none of that is true. None of that is true. Following a plan only really works when you also include rest. Rest is a productive activity. Let's just put that out there. Rest is a productive activity. When you have boundaries, when you allow yourself to recover emotionally, physically, whatever, when it includes a path towards sustainability. And a good plan will flex in its logistics, not its emotions. So meaning, if we have to strategically pivot and look at things, that's fine, but we're not going to let a bad morning change that plan. Again, going back to allowing and being aware of the feelings and not letting them drive the car. So if you're not a big fan of the phrase, fuck your mood, follow the plan, some reframes that I really liked is the self-talk that I would give is like, I acknowledge how I feel, and I am not going to let this decide who I am today. Another thing that I say is like, these feelings are valid and my commitments are non-negotiable. This is not toxic. This is leadership of yourself first. And as an entrepreneur, as a business leader, self-leadership is the job. You can't possibly grow a company or lead a team or have a movement or shift the market if you don't have the self-leadership that's needed. So I hope that's helpful. Those are my thoughts. Any questions? Let me know. I'm all over the place with like social media. I'm on Instagram and Threads and all those other good things. So whatever, the social media gods dictate you do to hit buttons and like, just do the thing. But either way, I really hope that this was helpful for you. I love these conversations. Message me wherever you find me, Thomai Roi on Threads. I'm always spouting things there, having conversations. Follow me on Instagram, and I'm sure on other places too. LinkedIn. Hey, I like LinkedIn. I do LinkedIn a lot. So anyway, hope this is helpful. Have a great day.